Hey guys, welcome back to Mad About Skin. One of the biggest news stories coming out of the skincare world this week is the announcement that this brand, Selfless by Hyram, are slashing their prices and coming to a Target store near you soon. I think when Sephora recently announced they were dropping the Selfless brand, this led to a lot of people prematurely declaring that the brand was over. There was kind of no coming back from that. I said at the time that there's a lot of things the brand could do to reignite interest in their products. The key one being actually reduce that price point, which always seemed inflated when you look at the formulations and really what people were expecting when the brand launched. Well, I'm glad to see that they've started to take some action on that, and I think with them coming to a Target, as a brand, it's going to be a lot more accessible than maybe it was for a lot of us out there. So I want to discuss all of this in today's video. Sit back, relax, let's talk some Selfless by Hyram changes. Now, before we get into this video, I would love to know what your own take is on this, so sound off in the comments section below. What products do you love from the Selfless by Hyram range, and are you more likely to buy from the brand now that the prices are coming down? How convenient is Target for you wherever in the world you happen to live? Sound off and let's get that conversation going. Whatever your thoughts on Selfless by Hyram as a brand, if you like me, you like the channel, and you like some good skincare content, don't forget to reach down and give this video a big thumbs up and a like. Honestly, this is the best way of supporting me as a content creator, because the more likes a video gets, the more widely YouTube distributes on its platform. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. Now, without further ado, shall we cut that waffle and delve straight on in? So let's kick things off with how we got here, the road travelled so far. Well, the Selfless by Hyram brand launched around 2 years ago, and they definitely racked up the sales in that initial launch period. I know so many people that tried out their product range. I got my hands on all the products, and I really did enjoy some of them. The cleanser in particular, I remember really fondly and seemed to work really well. However, the number one criticism from the start was the price point. People took a look and thought, yeah, we were expecting something maybe half the price of what they were actually charging. Especially because all of this was done in collaboration with the Inkey List, which are known for their drugstore and affordable price point. To this day, I'm still not really sure what the relationship is between Hyram and the Inkey List. I think, judging by the marketing and the way it's done, I think the Inkey List are the driving force behind this. They're doing the marketing, the formulation, the manufacturing, and all of that. And I think Hyram is there in a consultative capacity. Obviously, his name is all over it, and it's a collaboration in that respect. But you can definitely see the way that the products are marketed and led. This is definitely the Inkey List all over it. The fact that the Inkey List name was front and centre on the packaging, again, I think played into the idea that people were expecting a lower price point than what they actually got. The reception in terms of the products was mixed. People really loved some of the products, and you could see that they were working so well for people based on the feedback, the reviews that they were getting. But there were other people that said, again, the products were okay, but based on that price point, they kind of expected more. They were all designed to be super gentle, and so I think some people had unrealistic expectations. When you've got a really gentle formula, that's great. Invest now, minimum irritation for long-term payoff, but I think people were paying a higher price point and maybe just expected a bit more from the product, which is why a lot of people said just after one tube was used, yeah, this didn't work for me. And that's kind of not how gentle skincare does work. Now, the initial launch of the product occurred online and in Sephora, and then since then they've also added Cult Beauty as an international distributor and retailer. Unfortunately, both of those retailers have fallen by the wayside. Sephora announced that they were removing the Selfless by Hyram line. They didn't really give a reason for that. I think a lot of people speculated that the sales just weren't there, particularly because a lot of employees of Sephora came onto various forums and said, yeah, people just weren't buying the product. However, we don't really know the true reason for that. Same thing seems to have happened with Cult Beauty. So this is a retailer that I think started out in Europe but now does ship worldwide. Whilst there's never been any confirmation that they were actually discontinuing the line, the number of products that they stock has fallen, and it seems with a 40% sale that they're trying to clear the inventory, and I'm not really sure where the future lies with this brand and Cult Beauty going forward. However, Target is now on the horizon, and I actually think this was a really good decision. I want to applaud Hyram and congratulate him for getting into Target. Let's be honest, what brand owner wouldn't want to see their products on the shelf of Target, one of the biggest retailers, particularly in the North American market, which has literally millions of people going through their doors every single week. I think this is a huge achievement, and Target wouldn't take steps like this if they didn't believe in the brand and believe that it could shift the volumes. However, it all comes back to that price point. So initially, a lot of criticism about the price point. This was definitely not an issue with Sephora that tends to stock brands that have a slightly higher price point. But I think when people went in, they were shopping other luxury brands. They weren't really gravitating towards the Selfless by Hyram one. Also, if you looked at the demographics online of people that supported Hyram, enjoyed his content, they were very much on the younger end, which generally didn't have as much money traditionally to spend on skincare as people that might be in a slightly older demographic. Now, that's not universally true, but I think there was a little bit of mix match between the demographic appeal versus the price point and where these products were actually stored. You're much more likely to see a fan of Hyram and his content here on YouTube, over on TikTok, go into a Target than maybe you are a Sephora. And again, I think this is a better alignment in terms of product placement and retailer. So now let's come on to that price point itself. So whilst they haven't actually confirmed the exact pricing they're going with, there's been a few leaks that show it's going to be a roughly 25% reduction in the original launch cost. I think this is a much better price point, which I wish they'd almost made this decision like a year ago, because I think that would have held the brand in much better stead than waiting this long to announce that price reduction. All brands have margins built into them, and we knew because they did like 50% sales at one point that the margins on the Selfless by Hyram brand were really good. Something I covered in a video, which I'll leave a link to up there. So there was always margins there to be slashed to bring that price point down. And I think the constant sales that they did, 50% off here, 30% off here, I think for the whole month of November and December, they had 30% off the whole collection, just showed that the brand knew that they weren't able to shift the volumes they needed at full price, but weren't quite willing to make that cut just yet. I think timing this cut with the launch in Target is a genius idea, because Target will want that lower price point. People are much likely to reach for the products and try them out with that reduction. And I think, honestly, this is going to reinvigorate the brand, and a lot of people are going to want to reach for it, try it out, whereas maybe they were put off in the past by that higher price point. So before I close out this video, there are a couple of things that I do want to cover off. First up, let's talk about social change. So the idea of sparking social change was front and center with the launch campaign and has been a core component of the Selfless by Hyram brand ever since. So has those donations to charity, the environmental impact, sustainability, and all of that. Now, the way that they justified the higher price point was by saying, you're not just buying a product, you're really buying into a really good brand. The ethics are all aligned with that and sparking that social change. Whilst a lot of consumers out there are demanding, the brands kind of up their game when it comes to sustainability, reducing waste, minimizing their environmental impact, all things that I am fully on board with. A lot of people just aren't willing to pay that much more for that. Take the charity donations, for example. A lot of the time brands will say, because we give so much to charity, our products come with a higher price point. But consumers will say, actually, I'd rather pay the lower price point and just give my own money to a charity of my choice. I don't know why I'm overpaying for your products for you then to dictate which charity my money goes to. There's that little bit of a disconnect. And I think that's also where I tend to sit in all of this. I don't mind paying a little bit more for higher quality formulations, and I'm one that really loves to donate and give back to charity, but I kind of want to make the decision on the charities that I give to, the amount and all of that. I don't really need a brand to tell me what I should be donating to and increase the price to reflect that. Somewhere I think the messaging kind of got lost along the way, and there's lots of social impact work that the Selfless by Hyram brand do that doesn't involve additional cost or those charity donations. In fact, I'll link their social impact return that they released a few months ago so you can kind of see exactly what they've been doing. I think a greater focus needed to be put onto that rather than justifying the higher price point at launch on, giving back the cost of social change and all of that, because that's led people to think, I can do all of that in my own time with my own money. I don't need to buy this brand to kind of achieve that. I would rather see brands, I think as consumers, is what I'm trying to say, we expect that all of this to just be front and center as standard. For brands to really lead by example and be the good guys, not necessarily have to charge us an awful lot more in order to achieve that. But definitely read their sustainability and social change report, which I've linked, because I think they are doing some really wonderful things that definitely should be applauded. Finally, I think to truly reinvigorate the brand, get that excitement going, we need some new products. Now, I'm not all about brands releasing product after product after product, because I think that almost seems like a cash grab and like there's been very little thought put into each individual product. But since the launch, say 2 years ago, we've had one product, which is the Peptide Q10 and Ginger Antioxidant Serum, which honestly is the worst of the collection. And really didn't excite anyone at all. So we haven't really had anything new from the brand. I know people are really wanting a sunscreen, which I very much hope is coming. I think a little bit new innovation, some new products would again just reinvigorate everything, get people talking about the brand again, and hopefully that's something that we'll see down the line. So to summarize, I honestly think this move to cutting the prices and moving to Target as your physical retail is a masterstroke, and I honestly wish Hyram, the Selfless by Hyram team, and the Inkey List the very best of luck in the future. I think with this reduction in price point, I think some new product launches potentially on the horizon, there's going to be a lot more interest in the brand, and it should reinvigorate people's interest in it and get people talking about the brand again. One thing that I will just finish on is there's a lot of talk about accessibility in making this change from Sephora through to Target. Well, actually, accessibility, whilst physical locations and availability of products is one aspect of that, price point is huge. And I don't really like the way that it's been portrayed that the Sephora was in some way inaccessible. It wasn't the price point was the driving factor behind that. And I think, the Inkey List and the Selfless by Hyram team really have to take ownership of that. Early on, when people were calling out the higher price of the products, they could have looked and thought, yeah, maybe this just is a little out of line. Take a little slice of humble pie and reduce that price point down. However, I'm really glad that they decided to make this change now, especially with the cost of living going up, up and up, which means a lot of people are questioning whether they can afford certain skincare items. And I think with the 25% reduction, this is a brand that's going to be much more aligned with people's budgets than maybe the old pricing was, and that should definitely be applauded. I would love to know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions, so sound off in the comments section below. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.